Hello there and welcome to the next lesson. Now, as you can see, we have blank canvas in Studio, and this is because I want to show you something different now. And there might be times when you'd prefer to work, for example, in XD or Sketch or some other favorite tool of yours, but still you can use Studio in order to create prototypes. So for example, you can import this sketch file and create micro interactions and animations within the layers and groups that you already have from Sketch. But also, if you have any other software, you can export those artboards that you've created, and then you can import them to Studio in order to create something that's called a rapid prototype. So let's do this now, and what I have in my folder are some screens that I basically exported from Studio, and I want to import them all as PNG graphics instead of the footer. Now let's simply drag and drop, but first I might want to create an artboard. So let's press A and select iPhone 8, and let's drag all the things onto this screen. Now let's go to full screen, select them all, and also divide the width by 2 so that we have optimum quality. And let's take a look at the sizes here. If I select all those guys, I can just move them to X0 position. And also let's make sure that they are Y0 as well. Now let's select the artboard 1 and duplicate it 4 times so that I have 5 artboards. And on the artboard 1, I just want to leave this home screen. On the artboard 2, let's select everything instead of dashboard 1. Then we'll have dashboard 2, so let's deselect that one and delete everything else. Here this will be dashboard 3 and dashboard 4 for the last artboard. Okay, now let's create some transitions between these artboards, and the first thing I want to do is just create a rectangle on the artboard 1. Let's make a big one, no worries. Let's delete the fill, press C, and just target this artboard 2. After a tap, we want to navigate to artboard 2, and we're just going to stick to preset at all times while creating rapid prototypes. And instead of instant, let me just create a push left transition so that it goes to the left and then the second artboard appears. Let's save it and preview that so we can make sure it works. And obviously it works. Now, let's go to artboard 2 and create even more transitions. I want to have dual navigation. So one will be by swiping right and left, and the secondary nav is here at the bottom while clicking on those little buttons. So it's very easy. We can select the artboard. Now let's press C, and we want to go to artboard 3 after a swipe left gesture, and also we want push left behavior. Let's save it, and if we want to go back to this screen, let's maybe create another interaction, press C again, and after swiping right this time, we're gonna have a transition. This one, let's push it to the right. Let's save it and copy the interactions. So right click on an artboard, now copy the interactions and paste them to all the other artboards. It's as easy as shift clicking on the names of the artboards to select them. Now let's right click and paste the interactions. Now all we have to do is select the artboards and change the destinations for the interactions. So for this third artboard, we need to navigate to the next one, which is artboard 4, and then go back to the second one, which is artboard 2. And for the fourth one, let's navigate further to artboard 5 and also go back to screen 3. And from the fifth one, let's delete this swipe left navigation. We can't go further, but we can go backwards, and this will be to artboard 4. Okay, perfect. If you want to see all the transitions, just click anywhere outside of the artboards and make sure you have X on the keyboard pressed. So if you press X, you'll see all the connections. And if you want to see them even better, you can do it like that. And now I think it works. So we have double connections between the artboards, and let's preview that just in case. Let's click here. Now let's go to the right hand side, and we can have the different artboards appearing, and to the left hand side, and we can go all the way back to the beginning. Perfect. Now let's go back and let's take a look at this artboard 4. Well, here we want to have this vertical scrolling behavior. So in order to turn this on, it's as easy as you see now, it's on by default, but we have to make this artboard taller, like so. And now if you go to the preview, it will scroll automatically. What we need to do is we need to have this footer appearing, and I have it in the different file. Let's press I on the keyboard, and I is for image. Let's bring the footer here, press open, and divide the width by 2. And now we have to position this correctly. Well, as you might imagine, if we put it to the very bottom of the artboard and then pin it, it won't really work. Well, the footer will never appear on the screen because the screen is simply shorter and footer is somewhere there. Well, what we have to do instead is to put it somewhere here, and the width of this, the height, sorry, of the screen is 667 for the iPhone 8. So that we have to select it and say that we want Y to be 667, but well, not exactly 667. We have to contract the height of the footer of this element of the footer. So let's say minus 60, and now we have 607. That should work. Now let's press play, and as you can see, the footer now appears at the very bottom of the prototype. So we had a different separate image for this footer. The problem is we want also to stick this car's bookings header to the top, but we don't have the separate image. So there is another way you can do it in Studio. Well, let's have this dashboard screen duplicated like this. Now let's press R and let's draw a rectangle like so. This will be a mask for this dashboard tree. So let's reposition the layers, select them both, group them all together, and then make sure that the rectangle itself is a mask. Now, if I hide the original screen just for a second, you'll see that we do have what we wanted. So maybe, just maybe, let's have a shadow here as well, just a slight shadow. Let's have 10 and 20 for Y and blur, and let's maybe change slightly the opacity of this shadow. I have to make it visible once more, and let's preview this artboard. Now it looks like this, and obviously we need the fixed position for this entire group. So let's fix the position of this group, and let's preview this one more time. Now it should work perfectly, and we even have this little nice shadow that appears here over the car. So yeah, this is how you do it. You can pin the position of elements, so you can either have a different separate screen that you import onto this kind of artboard, or you can just duplicate and mask out the things that you want to have in fixed position. Okay, the last thing that I want to do in this rapid prototype is the secondary nav, and this navigation is within those icons at the very bottom. So let's press R once again, and on the artboard tool, let's create the hit area for the members. Okay, let's press C, and this will go here. After a tap, maybe instantly, that's fine. Now, I also need to duplicate it, so let's option drag it here and change the navigate to screen to artboard 4, so bookings, and also the last one, let's duplicate it, will go to the artboard 5, which shows the recent routes or the recent reservation that we have. Now let's select all the shapes or the rectangles, and let's select opacity 0. No, basically what we want to do is just get rid of the fill. So they will work, but still they're invisible. And now let's copy the rectangles and paste them over to the artboard 3, and this will work. All we have to do is select this first rectangle. As it leads to the same artboard, we don't really need it, so let's delete that transition. And for the artboard 4, let's Command V paste it as well. So we have the correct transitions, and let's preview all the transitions that we have. Let's click somewhere outside. Let's press X to make sure that we have transitions in place. And yeah, we have plenty of transitions, but multiple transitions are just made by copying and pasting. And this should be a working prototype right now. So let's press Command P or go to Preview. Let's go to the first screen of the account. Now we can swipe to the left and right. And if you go to Bookings, we have fixed position for the header and footer. And then we can go to the summary. We can obviously go back. And also from any screen, we can go to the previous screens or to different screens just by clicking on those little icons. Yeah, to be precise, we also have to delete this rectangle from the artboard 4 because we just don't need it here. And this is it. We have our ready-made prototype. So let's save it and let's proceed to the next lesson.